Hello again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Inside Lowell Daily Pulse, the Wednesday, December 3rd edition of the Daily Pulse. I'm your host, Teddy Panos, coming to you from the WellPoint Studios here in downtown Lowell, joined as always on a Wednesday morning when we record
cold Wednesday morning.
Cold,
icy Wednesday morning.
Cold, yeah. Did you see those temperatures the next couple of days? I saw single digits in there, my friend. But
doesn't look good.
Where the political scene in the city, I think it heated up a little bit last night.
Do you think so?
Yeah, we didn't see, it was subtle and it kind of got lost there, but the long-term ramifications of, by the way, of a 7-2 vote, an overwhelming yes vote, which when is an overwhelming yes vote really a no vote, that could be felt for ways to come, and it could spin off into a number of different ways involving our favorite topic, the Lowell High School renovation construction project. Look, I've been good to you, former mayor, former school headmaster, former city councilor Bill Samaras. I've avoided the topic. I found plenty to keep us occupied the last several weeks.
At some point, I mean, we're really going to have to sit down and discuss the whole issue of the costs and everything else. But at this point, as was stated, the high school is downtown. We've got to complete it. That's whatever happens, we've got to complete it, and we've got to complete it right. We can't do what used to be almost traditional in school construction. Whatever school was built, there always was a point where they ran out of money and they made a decision. So they either didn't put any labs in, less bathrooms, less rooms, whatever. You can't do that. And it would.
I thought we couldn't, and I thought we wouldn't this time.
Yeah.
And then last night, the door was opened wide to do that. We'll talk about all of that. What are we talking about? If you don't know, if you missed last night's city council meeting because you were too busy shoveling, de-icing, whatever the heck you were doing, there was a monumental vote taken there, and it took a little while for it to sink in even with me, but we're going to talk about it with former Lowell Mayor Bill Samaras, and that'll spin off into a number of other discussions, I'm sure. First, let's thank our Daily Pulse sponsor, Ray Booten. He's a licensed realtor in Massey and New Hampshire. He's a certified appraiser in both states as well. So if you're looking to buy or sell a home, a business, or a commercial property, find Ray online. And the good news is you can find him easily enough. realestaterayBooten.com is the web address, realestaterayBooten.com. Thanks as well to our friends at WellPoint for hosting us here in the WellPoint Studios. It's the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members at WellPoint. Your whole health is their whole point. Speaking of WellPoint, yesterday I recorded bright and early with Jerry Nutter because he's got to get to work, and then I ran over Lowell High School for a ceremony which featured the Department of the Education Secretary in Massachusetts, the chairperson of DESE. They were there to honor a Lowell High School science teacher, the head of the department, Tara Goodhue, as the Massachusetts Teacher of the Year. Now, interestingly enough, they call her the 2026 Teacher of the Year. Still 2025, but maybe they're going ahead to the next school year. But it was the first time, I was told, Bill Samaras, in the history of the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education giving out this award, that it's ever gone to a Lowell public school teacher.
I believe so. Lowell has had many teachers have had other awards, but usually from private foundations. But this is from the state, so this is different.
And Secretary, I'm going to draw a blank on his name. I'm not going to. I know Secretary Tutwiler, my Commissioner Rodriguez. Again, if I butchered the name, please forgive me. But he mentioned the process, and he said there's like 80,000 teachers, I think he said, in Massachusetts. They get like 200 or some odd nominees. So just becoming one of the 200 nominees is quite an accomplishment. But imagine like the being chosen as the best. And it was an amazing time. He gave a great speech too, by the way.
I'm sure. I don't know that person. Of course, since I left, the staff has changed
A little bit.
a little bit. But it's nice to hear, from your high school that you have such success. And I'll tell you, that helps the entire system, because that lets every teacher know that they too have the possibility of winning something like that. Because sometimes these wins or these prizes or what have you seem to be foreign.
Yeah,
Okay?
on another universe.
Another
right?
universe, another place, another time. But this will help the whole school system.
Tremendous notoriety.
And
First of all,
it's an incentive to all teachers.
they brought a bunch of students, I think all second period signing students. I heard the intercom call as I was walking in. The gym was packed. There was Boston TV media there. Yeah. I walked in at the same time as a reporter from the Boston Globe. It was a big deal. It would have been nice if either Governor Healy or Lieutenant Governor Driscoll showed up. Yeah. Can I say that? I was a little disappointed that one of the two couldn't get there, but they did send Secretary 𝐁𝐢𝐥𝐥, who gave a nice little speech, as did the commissioner, whose name I'm not going to say because I know now for a fact I've got the wrong one. But we had our state delegation was there, Rodney Elliott, Vanna Howard, Tara Hung, school committee member-elect Danielle McFadden was there. Oh. No other school committee members.
That's interesting.
Which I found interesting. But my good friend David Morales, the general manager at Well Point, was there, because what's happened is, I guess DESE has been giving this award out for a while, but for the third year now, Well Point hands out a $10,000 check to the winner to use for classrooms, which she said she's going to use to buy frogs for their habitat that they're setting up in science class. But not just that, there are also 3 other finalists besides the winner, Tara Goodhue, and each of them will get $5,000. Yeah. So in total, Well Point is giving $25,000 out to the educators, which they're huge supporters of education, but they gave $10,000 to the Lowell High teacher, and then one of the finalists was a Chelmsford Elementary School teacher, South Row Elementary School, who also got $5,000 as well. So it was a great day to be over there at Lowell High School.
I'm sure it was. I'm glad you were there to cover that. I mean,
we were all there. Melanie Gilbert back. First time I've seen her since her tonsillectomy. She was there. As I said, Boston TV, Channel 25. I saw Channel 7 microphone, the Globe. It was awesome. And then as superintendent of school, Liam Skinner talked about, the beautiful facility. The guests talked about walking in and seeing the beautiful facility.
Correct.
And I thought to myself, man, if only they would tune in to the city council meeting later on tonight
and offer an opinion.
Or at the very least bring a few bucks with them. That's why I would have liked to have either Governor Healy or Lieutenant Governor Driscoll in there, because what fall? You had this glorious morning at Lowell High School, and it is. Yeah. The gym is nice. It's nice to have a brand new gym.
I think what you're saying. Everybody talks about support and education. And there's money has been put aside by the state, more money in the past than what was in the past. But the issue is, it's more than money. You've got to support. You got to support the teachers. You've got to support the students, and you have to establish a strong direction where education is going to go. And we need more of it.
All right. Where is education? Where is the Lowell High School construction project going from here? Last night, Lowell City Council had an order from the manager to approve the 40. We'll round it off. It was about 39.8 million.
Correct.
We'll round it off to 40 for our discussion. The extra $40 million for the cost overruns. Now, this is no surprise. We've known about this since early in the year, right? We found out in the spring, early summer, that there was going to be an extra charge because more work needed to be done. And we had...
It was overruns, contingency money, and prices established for
Correct. The extra year of work, the delays, all of this.
It's a little of everything. I just because we'll bring it up afterwards. You know what this is.
Yeah. So, but all of it was baked in since at least March or April or somewhere in there. I think we reported it at InsideLowell in February that you're not going to like what's happening. I remember you sitting there with Corey Belanger when I said $30 million and he almost fell off his chair. Turned out it was closer to 40. But the overriding opinion was, all right, well, we got whacked again. We're going to ask for money. I think we talked about it in recent weeks. They'll go ask the MSBA. It's not likely. We'll see if we can, you know, haggle a little bit with Skanska, Suffolk, see what we can do.
Because this was a little different from when the MSBA helped with the steel.
With the,
because that was a problem.
Money,
that was a problem all throughout the state. Many school systems. But this is an internal problem.
This is specific to the Lowell High.
And what is the problem? Is it a little mismanagement? Is it timing? What is it?
So that I'm not sure anybody knows, but what I thought was going to be, all right, we're going to kick and scream. And, you know, Counselor Gitcher did the Counselor Gitcher thing. He beat up Jim Dowd again verbally. John Dakota was probably even worse than him. The Mayor Rourke said a few things, not to Dowd, but said, he said, this is one of the rare occasions where Counselor Gitcher is going to be milder than I. Rita Mercier had a whole bunch of questions.
They had legitimate questions. The only thing I would advise Mr. Dowd is you get questions, some are asked nicely, some are asked, we'll say, with a little emotion.
With a little vinegar?
Maybe a little vinegar.
Some vinegar?
Maybe a lot. Maybe the full bottle. But the issue is you just stay there and answer the questions. You don't get into a debate with the city council, because the thing is, their concern is they've got taxpayer money, and what are the taxpayers saying about this? What are they thinking about this? But the issue is, I've been pleased with the city council in the sense of all of them have recognized the idea that we have to complete the high school, not do as what's been done in the past. You run out of money, chop out a room, whatever. You chop something up, and you've answered the needs. What we have to do, we have to complete this high school properly. But the issue was, I don't think Mr. Dakota and Mr. Gitcher might have understood the ramifications of their no vote at this point. You know, at this point, you're saying no, and maybe you're thinking the bill will pass, or maybe they understood. I mean, because there are so many rules. What is it? 2/3? Is it 3/4? What is it? 50%? Is it majority? What have you? But what are the ramifications? Because now we're in an interesting state of affairs right now. This can be disastrous.
Correct.
If not handled right.
So I will say I believe Counselor Gitcher full well understood the ramifications of his vote and got John Dakota to go along in a way that created the scenario that happened last time.
I'm hoping that they didn't really realize this.
So what happened? So they all exacted their pound of flesh from the punching bag, Jim Dowd from Skanska there last night.
Right.
And then it was time to call the roll. And I expected, and Councilor Mercier said, she goes, I would love to say no, but I'm not. She basically said that because exactly what you said.
Yeah.
We have to do this right for the kids. We can't do what we did in 1997 or in 1980. We got to do this right.
That's why she's been on the council for a long time. She understands the situation where she is at this particular point. And there are certain things that you don't want to do or you don't like to do, but there are things that you have to do.
So the vote was taken. Now, we have to remember, snow, ice, a little tricky. Councilor Corey Robinson couldn't be there, even though he had a motion about stipends on there. They've put that off to next week. I spoke to Councilor Robinson this morning. Councilor Vesna-Noon was not able to be there either. They couldn't Zoom in, which I found was in Wayne Janess, I think, Zoomed in, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
But the other two didn't Zoom in. And so the vote was taken, 9 counselors there, and it was overwhelming. 7 people said, we're not happy, but we got to do this right for the kids.
Correct.
2 people said, no, we're not authorizing $40 million. Eric Gitchier, John Dakota. The motion fails. Now, folks out there might be wondering, how does a 7-2 motion? That's overwhelming. That's more than 3-1. How does it fail? I didn't get it at first. Jerry Nutter texted me, said, that motion got shot down. And then I realized, really? And he said, because and now there's some confusion out there about whether you need 3/4 of a vote to pass a budget item this big, whether you need 2/3, whether you need 2/3 or 3/4 of how many people are in attendance, which was 9 last night, or the quorum. So we've since looked into it. And the way it works, Mass General Laws and the City of Lowell Charter, you need 2/3 of the full body. So you need 2/3 of the 11.
Correct.
So you got 7.
Right.
Do some math. 7 divided by 11 does not equal 2/3. 8 divided by 11 does equal 2/3.
Fits the formula.
So naturally, I did ask Corey Robinson, how would you have voted if you were there last night? He said, I don't know. I didn't hear the discussion. So he didn't say how he would vote. Vesna Noon, would he have voted? Would he have done what the other 7 did?
I believe he would have met the needs of the system. Yeah.
So you would have had the 8 votes to go ahead and give Skanska and Suffolk another $40 million.
Correct.
Okay. See, this is why I think Councilor Gitchier knows what he's doing. I think Councilor Gitchier saw an opening, convinced Councilor Dakota to go along with him, and play a little hardball with Mr. Dowd, who it doesn't seem any of the 11 board members. And let's be honest, you, who sits on the school building committee, you have been very critical of Skanska and Mr. Dowd for the last several years about this, right? So now we're in a situation where they haven't been approved for $40 million that they say they need to finish this project. I didn't go by the high school to look and see, but I know yesterday when I was there were crews working yesterday. Yeah. They were fixing stairs. They were doing all sorts of stuff. Does this freeze all the work on the project? Does this mean that they have a certain amount now that they can spend, but once they run out of that, they're not going to get the $40 million they need to complete the project? Because for this vote to come up again for the $40 million, you need either one of the 2 people who voted no,
to reconsider,
and John Dakota to vote to reconsider. Correct. The other 7 can't bring it forward. No. Neither can Vesna Noon or Corey Robinson for not being there. This is where it gets fun. This is where the negotiation starts, doesn't it, former Mayor Samaras?
Yes. I mean, it does. I mean, the whole thing is, I think the one thing that bothered them the most was when Mr. Dowd talked about the claims that could be put against the city for more money by the subcontractors.
Basically threatening that the city was going to get sued. Correct. If they didn't come forward with his $40 million.
Well, there are so many subcontractors, whether it's electrical, paint, plumbing, drywall, or what have you. But apparently a contractor can come in and say, even though he or she bid for a certain amount of money for a certain amount of work, they found something else or whatever.
The dreaded unforeseen conditions that we've heard over and over and over again, right?
But can only be laid in the public sector, not in the private sector. I mean, that was indicated too last night. The private sector has a different delivery system than the public sector. Public sector, they have the right to make claims.
And don't you, as the general contractor, Suffolk, or the owner's project manager, Skanska, don't you have a responsibility to foresee conditions? Because what Mr. Dowd keeps saying over and over again now is, well, you know, in a renovation project, these things pop up. So he should have been able to foresee these things. Doesn't he bear responsibility for that contractually?
Okay. The issue that I have when he makes statements like that, I was there when they made the initial presentations of why they should be selected, and the issue was that they raised that most construction today in this state, like of Massachusetts, includes renovation. There's no longer so much land where they're just constantly building new buildings, but especially Boston, so it's mostly renovation, okay, and some new buildings. And they were experts in it, and they had the ability to look at what they had, make the right type of decisions.
This is why they were chosen.
That's
we
why
were
they were
told
chosen
over other owners, project managers, because not only do they know how to build schools, but they know how to do complicated schools, which involve renovations of old buildings to be tied into new buildings.
Correct.
This was their area of expertise.
Correct.
So were they, and Councilor Mercier asked that. She kept trying to get to like, how did we select you guys? Yeah. She wanted him to say, because we know what we're doing.
Yeah.
They're not acting like they know what they were doing, or they weren't back when it came time to do the bid and the due diligence.
The thing is, he's made some statements, like one statement to the subcommittee, the committee on the high school from the MSBA. He said, well, when you're talking about the 22 building, codes were not in effect at that time. Anything could happen. Anybody who knows anything about construction would know a building from 1922 would have its issues. Well, then clearly he knew that there'd be they all knew that there'd be problems and where the problems would occur. Mm-hmm. So why didn't they address those issues?
Oh, right. Well,
why were they surprised?
I have a theory that I want to share with you, and I will actually defend Mr. Dowd, because I think in my mind he is becoming a sympathetic figure. Okay. He is becoming the fall guy for a political game that was played in 2017 with full involvement and knowledge and support from the leadership of the state of Massachusetts. And that's why the MSBA, and that's why I thought it was important for Governor Healy and Lieutenant Driscoll to be here yesterday. We're going to get into all of these spin-out things that could call, including value engineering. A counselor said that last night, maybe not using those words, but she brought up the possibility. And is that the only alternative if neither Councilor Ghitje or Councilor Dakota want to ask for reconsideration of that vote? Or do you put up a different number and then take a whole new vote? We're going to talk about all of it with former Mayor Bill Samaras. Let me just take a quick break. Thank all of our Daily Pulse sponsors and all of our podcast sponsors. Ray Booten, licensed realtor in Mass and New Hampshire. Find him online, realestaterayBooten.com. Thank you to WellPoint. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. Thanks to Washington Savings Bank, banking that goes the extra mile. Make the switch now to Washington Savings Bank. TMI Properties, experience the quality, the care, and the value of making TMI the choice for your home. Mahoney Oil, providing warmth and protection to generations of families throughout Greater Lowell and Southern New Hampshire since 1925. And the Greater Lowell Community Foundation, improving the quality of life in our communities through strategic, impactful philanthropy. Back here with former Lowell Mayor Bill Samaras. So now the council votes no. Yeah. And it can't come back. That $40 million is now stuck. The city cannot spend that $40 million. The city manager can't say, I'm going to override you. The council can't say, well, we've changed our minds and we'll give it to you unless Councilors Ghitje and Councilor Dakota do. So that means that either you have to now cut $40 million out of work that Skanska planned to do, or Skanska/Suffolk needs to come up with a different number than 40 million. And by the way, by that, hopefully not 45 million or 50, hopefully 30 million, 35 million.
Okay, but let's play it out a little. Nothing is going to be done regarding till that $40 million or whatever. Mm-hmm. There's a readjustment made. Now, the thing is, when I said I was hoping that they didn't realize the ramifications, the issue is, if you delay, if this is the cause of some delay, and say the delay is 2 or 3 or 4 months, Do you realize the costs that will be incurred by any kind of delay?
As we learned,
you have to think about that type of situation.
It wasn't so much the basement work that they needed to do in the 1922 building. That was a couple of $1 million, but the main thrust of the $40 million was pushing everything out by a year.
Yeah.
So
and another statement that they made last night, which was floored me, was that the
1896 building, whatever that Colburn building.
The Colburn building, the 1892 building.
Has the same issues.
In July 24th, that's when they found out. But wait a minute, when we were talking about the $40 million way back, that floor was included. Because the statements were made that they now realized they had to check all the floors then.
Correct. So they laid.
So
Mr. Dowd and
what happened then?
They laid the groundwork to come back and say, by the way, after this $40 million you give us, which now is being hung up, we may need some more. Don't think that you're going to get away.
But you understand statements like that? I mean, city councilors, they're not going to forget that. If you make a statement, they're not going to forget it. Most of us write the things down, write anything. There are statements made. Oh, wait a minute. That one's going to be, I got to write that one down. I got to make note of it.
They put it in the back of their mind. Councilor Scott, in her discussion, and by the way, she did vote yes to authorize the $40 million, but she said, can you do anything in the form of value? She didn't say value engineering, but can you cut certain things out to save a few more bucks? I know Mr. Dowd talked about, we gave you guys $200,000 or $300,000.
We gave, no, he said we gave back about $200,000 on our own.
Yeah, he was very generous of them.
Yeah. And that's when Mr. Gitcher said, you give me $2 million, I'll give you $200,000 anytime. So when you have that type of bickering back and forth, you're not going anywhere.
Right. So Councilor Scott brought up, so one of the ways to get around this is to, find a way to not spend $40 million by cutting out, I don't know, fancy desks, fancy chalkboards, buying a cheaper brand of paint, that having Councilor Leahy find a cheaper brand. So that number goes from 40 to 39, 38, 37 to a level where it's acceptable for the city council.
But I'll disagree with you in a sense of that's not what they're saying. They're saying we want what we want, what we were told we were going to get. But we want to pay. We don't want to pay as much for this.
Correct.
Correct. You're overcharging us.
So now it's the hardball. This is what I believe Councilor Gitcher and Councilor Dakota were saying. No. We're voting no. You come back with another number. You bear as much responsibility for this as anybody else. So you screwed up. You come back with a number that we can be happy with. Now, what that number is, who knows? But Councilor Gitcher may have hinted at it when he said, you give me back $2 million, I'll gladly give you $200,000. Yeah. He's trying to tell Mr. Dowd that this is now a negotiation. We're tired of just writing a blank check to you every time you come forward.
But I'm saying those statements, they don't help anything. They don't help anything. They just turn the heat up on everything. Okay? But my issue is that they shut it off with no idea how long it's going to take to do this. That bothers me.
Or no idea how Mr. Dowd responds, because you could see last night, and you've seen it at other meetings, he's clearly getting tired of being the punching bag. Yeah. Because he's the guy, you're not seeing Mr. Fish come in. Sean Edwards, we got to put an APB out for him again. Yeah. He's missing from Suffolk. All the Suffolk people, they're not showing up. No. Jim Dowd is brought there to take a beating, whether it's on the council floor or the school building committee floor. Correct. He takes his beating, and to me, admirably, he takes it like a man, because I think Jim Dowd wants to say something. I think Jim Dowd knows why we're in this situation now. And I don't think it has anything to do with incompetence. I think it has to do with looking the other way for a reason. But put that aside for a few minutes. What if Mr. Dowd says, you guys think you're playing hardball? Until we get paid, we're not building anything. Your high school project stalls. And like you said, now we're stuck in limbo with construction crews all over the place, buildings that are half finished, right? and nothing done on the Coburn building, whatever year that is. And what if and he said, he goes, you may end up getting sued by some subcontractors. The hint there being, well, we may sue you too, because we expect to get paid, or Suffolk expects to get paid. So now you run into a legal challenge. And while the fighter in me says, let's fight this because I think they screwed up, I don't know what a court or a jury or a judge is going to rule, right?
Okay. The thing is, if you go into the court system, you'll find many school systems have either been sued by the architects, the contractors, or the school systems have sued the contractors or the architects or whomever. A lot of cases like that. And I think this is coming to the end. Both sides know that there's going to be issues. And I think what you have...
I think you said it. Both sides know the legal action is coming.
That's right.
We're at the point now where the city of Lowell's not getting anything from them.
It would have to be. It would have to be.
So they're going to have to go after these contractors because it's not fair to the taxpayers to eat this $40 million because of, you call it Skanska's incompetence, whatever you want to call it. I call it because the state made them be incompetent intentionally so that we wouldn't know the true cost of renovating a 150-year-old building.
But the thing is, at this particular point, they're going to continue with the money that they have. But at some point, if this is not resolved quickly, this could turn into a really bad situation. And no one wins. And the students of Lowell High School don't win, and the high school doesn't win. And we end up in trouble.
Do you see a way that this gets resolved?
Well,
unless somebody moves by millions of dollars off their number.
The issue was, it was brought up, and a lot of this stuff could have been discussed back then too. Opinions could have been, I'm not going to support this at this particular point. But we're at the final hour, so guess what? We're not going to support this.
Maybe at the final hour, because again, I don't think they're done asking for money by what he said last night on the revelations about the Coburn building. So.
But that's standard. That's standard procedure. Guess what? We might be coming back for more. We hope we're going to. Then every so often they throw in, well, we hope we're going to give you back some of this money. Mm-hmm.
And they haven't given any back yet.
That's never going to happen.
Of course not. Of course not. So either then Councilor 𝐁𝐢𝐥 or Councilor Dakota has to say, all right, we tried to play hardball with negotiations. We went as far as we could. It will now start to become detrimental. So let's reconsider this vote. One of them changes their vote. Councilor Newton, or they keep their vote, but Councilor Newton shows up. Councilor Robinson, one of them becomes the 8th vote, and hands are washed, and we're all set. Skanska gets their $40 million and whatever else they're going to ask for going forward. The Lowell taxpayers get another whack in the ass from the paddle, and everybody's happy or unhappy.
But my thinking right now at this particular point, it's an amount of money that you sort of know that you're going to have to spend at this particular point. There may be a lawsuit down the road that you can win some of the money back. Okay, that you have that. But there's another. The other point is this also may cost a significant increase. It might knock it up to say $60 million. Because if there's any type of delay, all those contractors are going to come in with, they'll all have a claim. We couldn't do our next job. Sure. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do that. It's not.
Last night set off a bunch of potential dominoes.
It's not a pretty picture. So I'm not saying who's right, who's wrong. I'm just setting up a scenario that, guess what? The picture's not pretty.
Do you think there's any way that Skanska, Suffolk get together and say, all right, we're going to take a little bit less. We're going to cut into our profits more, and Councilor 𝐁𝐢𝐥, Councilor Dakota, Manager Golden, whoever, will the number 35 work instead of 40? What do you think the possibilities are of that happening? Because I didn't see Jim Dowd wanting to move last night. Then again, I'm not sure Jim Dowd realized that 7-2 vote was actually a no vote.
I think I'd bet my house against it ever happening.
I don't think he's going to budge either.
No, because if then they're establishing a route for other school systems or manufacturers, whoever they're working for, that, okay, if they come in with a new price, we'll play hardball and we'll knock $5 million off.
You're right. So
it won't happen.
Okay.
I don't see it happening.
So then we're heading to legal action.
Yes.
And that's where it gets fun.
Because
that's inevitable. That's when emails and records that were sent in 2016 and 2017, and I was there for all those discussions. Oh no, we can get this done. The prices are this, the prices are that. Yeah. Voters of Lowell were lied to. Taxpayers of Lowell were lied to. Now, people can choose who they think lied to them. Was it Skanska that lied to them? Was it the people who told them the location thing? And by the way, Antifa Joe, you can go rant all you want. The location battle is done. Yeah. This is about the cost,
at this point,
who's going to pick up the cost and who should pick up the cost. But also, I believe the voters of Lowell and the taxpayers of Massachusetts, who are also picking up, they picked up 62% of everything up to this $40 million.
Correct.
They should know exactly how much their state government bungled this in 2017. The MSBA, which was created specifically to avoid this, and then the state officials who got involved in a political battle to make it happen. And I think Jim Dowd knows this. And I think Jim Dowd is saying, well, when push comes to shove, nobody wants discovery. Nobody wants a lawsuit, because then people get exposed for conversations they were having, and it goes right up to the higher levels of the state, including our state treasurer and maybe even our governor and his administration, Charlie Baker, at that time.
I mean, the issue is on a legal battle like this, nobody
will win. That's right.
No, I'm sorry. The lawyers will.
Yes.
The lawyers will come in with their SUVs with their drivers and pile into court.
So is this your way of saying you think ultimately the city of Lowell will blink first?
No.
They'll have to go the value engineering route then. That's because they can't vote on this $40 million again.
The issue, what I'm saying is, they've got to dig themselves out. They've just put themselves into a hole. Regardless of what, they're in a hole. Okay? And the issue is that they could be delaying construction or payment of certain bills, which could delay certain things happening. It's inevitable unless something is done. So the thing is...
should we file the suit now instead of waiting until the project freezes? You can't file a suit now and say, you promised us this, now you're coming back asking for $40 million.
You
get a judge to issue an injunction that tells them they can't stop working on it until this is resolved. Can you do that?
They'd stop working anyways. The worst thing that could happen is you file a suit, they stop working, you're nowhere. You have no high school, no completed high school. The issue is we have a problem. Okay.
We have a big problem. That vote last night was sneakily one of the most consequential votes that have been taken in the city of Lowell in a very long time.
And the thing is, maybe it could work out to be the best thing. I don't think so. I think it's going to cost the city a lot more money.
All right. So what is it costing now? Assuming that $40 million, and we heard this explanation from Connor Baldwin again last night, although Manager Golden had made it clear to us, we've been reporting this at Inside Lowell, that next year's budget was 1.6% of that budget was going to be dedicated to the high school loan. Now, whatever's already on the books plus the additional 40 million.
That's 3 years.
So when you look at what's your tax increase going to be, 2.5%, 3%, 4%, people lost their minds over 5%.
Yeah.
Be advised that the next fiscal budget, 2027, was starting at 1.6% increase just for the school alone.
Correct.
So you're looking at a 4 to 5% tax increase in general.
Yes.
Okay. Now, We all knew this for 2027. What I just found out last night, Connor Baldwin told us, oh, no. It's not just 1.6% in 2027. Also 1.6% in 2028.
Yep.
1.6% in 2029.
Correct.
So for the next 3 years, Lowell's budget will be automatically increased by 1.6%.
Yep.
Unless they find a way to cut elsewhere.
Right.
Just for that school project alone. Now they did say, look, Manager Gold said they could have, back in 2014 when this project started, they could have, looked at spreading it out through there, but they decided to backload it, which is standard practice, right? You're not gonna add it onto the budget in 2014 when you don't know what the real cost is in 2017, 2020, and now 2025. So, Lowell taxpayers, you're screwed. One way or the other. You were mad about last year's tax increase. You are effed. You are effed badly by this school catastrophe, and we still don't even know the final price tag.
Sure we do. 1.6.
1.6%. So
that was built in.
If you had to guess, how does this end? Who gives in? Who blinks? What's the compromise?
No. The issue is it shouldn't be who blinks at this particular point. Okay, it's got to be worked out. So knowing the city, I think the city manager knows that he has a task ahead of him. I mean, he's got to, in a sense, he's got to make sure that the contract is being met, and that they have the ability to meet the needs of the contract. At the same time, he's got to see that the needs of the city council and their many needs are met at this particular point. And the councils have to realize at this point that they're going to have to, they just can't have a hissy fit and be mad about something. They've got to think this out, and they've got to work this out with 𝐁𝐢𝐥𝐥 and Eastman Perkins.
Perkins. I forgive them for being upset, throwing a hissy fit, whatever you want to call it. I don't blame them. This has not been handled properly. And by the way, most of these counselors were not on that board at the very beginning. They chose 𝐁𝐢𝐥𝐥 and decided to go down that path.
Yeah, I understand it, but I'm just saying the facts are this is where they are. So we can't say, well, they didn't cause it, or this one wasn't here. I was there, but I wasn't there over this particular time. It's a serious time. It's a serious issue, and it has to be handled. And it's a difficult situation because now it's a situation where the original bill, it's gone. So what replaces it?
Can we take $5 million from the Rourke Bridge project and put it towards the high school and get rid of those stupid jut outs and the 12 bike lanes and we have 2 pedestrian lanes and a bike lane on each side of the bridge? Can we value engineer the Rourke Bridge, which, by the way, 𝐁𝐢𝐥𝐥 was awarded? Imagine all this quote-unquote incompetence, what people are calling incompetence on the Lowell High School project, what I'm calling is political malfeasance, and poor Jim Dowd has to take the beating for it. And yet they were awarded the $300 million Rourke Bridge.
If you look at the history, if you look at the History Channel or the Science Channel, especially when they do construction of buildings and bridges all over the world and what have you, many times look at the towers, look at the cranes, and you'll see 𝐁𝐢𝐥𝐥. Yeah.
They didn't do the pyramids because those came in on time and on budget.
But I mean,
and they're still standing.
They're everywhere. They're everywhere.
Which tells me they are a very competent crew, and that's why I don't think there was this level of incompetence. And ultimately, that's why I think somebody from the state may come in.
Wait a minute, on crews, but here's the thing we know. I'm not going to get into it, but the thing is, when you have many school systems, once they get their contract, they'll go and they look for the A crew. There's an A crew, a B crew, and a C crew.
We got the double A crews. We got 𝐁𝐢𝐥𝐥 and Suffolk, right?
Well,
SNS, superlative, not satisfactory, superlative.
well, we don't know what crews we won't talk about that.
But
The crews within the company, not the company.
Shouldn't Governor Healy or Lieutenant Governor Driscoll come here behind closed doors and say to Mr. Dowd, listen,
It's not going to happen.
we know in 2017 you were told to look the other way, and we know you're taking a beating, but listen, we threw you a bone. You got a $300 million bridge that was $100 million 5 years ago. So you're getting $300 million here. There's more projects coming down the pipeline, Mr. Dowd, and we can make sure that you get these projects. Do us a favor. We do not want lawsuits, and we do not want Treasurer Goldberg or anybody else to have to turn over emails from a decade ago and whatever. I think that's the most likely scenario. And my prediction is Mr. Dowd will come back and just say, all right, what's the number? 38, 37, 30. That's my prediction. You're shaking your head no. You're saying I'm wrong.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong on this one too. So you think the city council ultimately reconsiders that John Dakota or Eric Gitcher? Probably more likely John Dakota.
I think it's the easiest thing to do at this particular point, and then, but still bring them in and question them for every cost and what have you.
Do they start going down that path by having Councilor Scott bring back up the value engineering thing, so that then we can have a discussion about, well, let's give the kids what we promised them. So okay, I'll grudgingly vote to reconsider to give them the 40 million. How do the mechanics of this negotiation play out? By the way, this will be executive session fodder, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. But we're playing it out publicly for folks.
It's anything can happen. I mean, the issue. All I'm bringing up, no blame game, what have you. But the issue was a vote was taken. It killed the bill for the financing. Something has to happen, and it has to happen quickly. If there's a major delay, there's going to be costs incurred. I mean, anybody would know that. Do you see any other way? I mean, if all of a sudden that money's not seen for the next 6 months.
Look, if the choice,
4 months.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but if the choice is, pay whatever they ask, or cut back on what we give the kids, I would say, for once, let's just do the right thing.
You can't do it this time.
Let's find another way to get our money back, and whether that involves legal action, the threat of legal action, or whatever.
Because how do you cut it out? Now you have to have all new plans. And they're going to say, well, that's going to cost an extra $10 million to cut out. Do you know?
Right.
No one's going to, they're not going to do it for nothing.
How many desks can we cut out? Do kids use desks anymore? Can they sit on floors? Can we get like little carpets that they can sit on? And, the open concept that was the big thing in education.
Yeah, no chairs, no anything. Yeah.
What a bleeping disaster.
Yeah.
What a disaster.
It's not good. It's not pretty.
And what we thought, while we were all worried about that snow and how quickly it would turn to ice, that vote last night, the more I think about it, man, that's going to have some long-term ramifications. It could for the city, the tax base, whatever. But one way or the other, the little taxpayers are getting walloped. Yeah. We know that. All right. On that positive note, we were supposed to have Kelly Richardson with us here, former Lowell Police Chief, GLTHS, Greater Lowell Technical High School Committee member. He rescheduled to next week, so
hopefully,
we'll get him next week. They did all their work on time and on budget. Did they use ScanScan? Who did they use? Who was their project manager? Brother, Mr. Dowd, I feel bad for you, and I'm going to repeat it again. I said it to you in person. I've said it in past podcasts. You look to me like a guy who's tired of getting your balls kicked in, and you want to say something. But I think you want to say something, Mr. Dowd, and I will give you every opportunity to come on out here and say everything that needs to be said, so the people who are scapegoating you and your company and calling them incompetent, I don't think you guys are incompetent. I think you were told to look the other way. And I'd love for you to confirm it so I can be proven right.
And all I say is, what he should do is, you go before the Lowell City Council, just answer the questions. Don't get yourself in a huff. Yes, this isn't the first time they've been yelled at by anybody. I mean, this happens.
No, but they're calling him incompetent now. They're calling him incompetent. He should be fired. His company's incompetent.
Whatever. Just listen, answer the questions.
And you'll get your $40 million anyway. All right. To be continued. We'll see you at the next move. The chess match is on. City of Lowell versus Skanska, and who knows who's whispering into whose ears. But we'll be talking about it in the coming weeks. Former mayor, counselor, head of schools, Bill Samaras, thank you as always for being here. I couldn't help but get into this topic today. Sorry. Yeah. We'll try to avoid it next week.
And I went through the ice to get here.
You did.
Told you about my judgment.
Big mistake on your part. Thanks to Bill Samaras. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. Again, very consequential vote last night, and I'm ashamed to say I didn't even realize it at the time, but it's starting to sink in now. We'll continue to follow this situation. Ryan Gilday has written about it on InsideLowell.com in his Government Was Happening article. We'll talk more with others about it. I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow. I got something. Friday, we'll go live with Leslie Boder and the fabulous Lindsay. Next week, whole new week of the shows. We got so much good stuff coming up here. It's the Daily Pulse, the show that keeps its finger on the pulse of Lowell and the world around it. Till next time, everybody, please stay safe. Be careful out there. Lots of icy patches and stuff. Stay warm. We will see you on the other side.